Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're exploring a place that is, honestly, vastly misunderstood. A country sitting geographically and metaphorically at the absolute heart of the African continent. We're talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo.
And we're so glad you're joining us for this explainer, because this is a story full of genuine surprises. It's a place most of us think we know, but as you'll see, the reality is entirely different from the common narrative.
Let's start with a really honest question. What actually comes to mind when you hear the word Congo? If you're like most people anywhere in the world, your brain immediately flashes to international headlines.
Right. And unfortunately, we all know what those headlines usually look like. They're almost exclusively dominated by stories of complex conflict, political instability, and hardship. It creates a very singular, very narrow image in our minds.
We're constantly fed these conflict headlines, day in and day out. But hiding just beneath that surface is an extraordinary reality that rarely, if ever, makes the evening news.
Exactly. Today, we're intentionally peeling back those headlines because there's a world-shifting story here, full of rapid, unbelievable reveals that are going to completely challenge your assumptions. You simply have to know what's actually happening on the ground.
So let's move right into Section 1, Scale of the Giant, a land of unfathomable magnitude.
To put this massive physical presence into perspective, the DRC is the second largest country in all of Africa. It is actually larger than all of Western Europe combined. Just think about that for a second. You could fit Spain, France, Germany, and Italy entirely inside its borders, and you'd still have room to spare. It's colossal. And yet, despite being this absolute giant taking up so much space on the globe, almost nobody outside the continent could easily point to it on a map.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer depth we're looking at with its natural geography, 220 meters. That is the depth of the Congo River, making it the deepest river anywhere on Earth. It's a force of nature so incredibly powerful that it generates enough potential hydroelectric energy to power the entire African continent. And the wildest part of that statistic, most of that world-changing potential remains completely untapped today.
And speaking of that mighty river, check out this staggering proximity, just 4 kilometers. That's the tiny distance separating the DRC's capital, Kinshasa, and the neighboring Republic of Congo's capital, Brazzaville. They sit right across the river, just staring at each other, making them the 2 closest capital cities in the world. But here's the catch. You can't just casually drive your car across a bridge. Crossing that tiny 4-kilometer stretch requires booking a boat, enduring hours of paperwork, and having massive bureaucratic patience. It's a literal logistical mountain for a 4-kilometer trip.
Which brings us to Section 2, the paradox of wealth, resources, and history.
Because as we're about to see, this immense physical scale and natural power is matched by a staggering and often incredibly dark historical paradox of wealth. Think about this. Roughly 70% of the world's supply of coltan comes directly from the DRC. That means the smartphone currently sitting in your pocket, the laptop you might be using right now, the batteries powering the massive electric vehicle revolution, they all fundamentally rely on Congolese minerals to exist. It's true. The modern digital age is quite literally built on Congolese soil. Yet, despite sitting on one of the most valuable mineral deposits on our planet, the nation remains one of the poorest on Earth. The wealth simply does not stay with the people mining it. Let's see how this builds over time. This intense paradox of immense wealth and deep poverty has severely impacted the country's identity. Over the last century and a half, the country has changed its name 5 separate times. From the Congo Free State to the Belgian Congo, then Congo-Kinshasa, Zaire, and finally the Democratic Republic of Congo. Each new name reflects a highly turbulent era, shaped by incredibly heavy forces, colonialism, dictatorship, and revolution.
And that history contains chapters that are profoundly heavy to discuss. Between 1885 and 1908, this entire massive territory, an area 76 times the size of Belgium, wasn't just a traditional colony. It was the personal, private property of exactly one man, King Leopold II of Belgium. He utilized this vast land as his own brutal personal rubber extraction operation, entirely for his own financial gain and completely unchecked by international law at the time. The human cost of that operation was catastrophic. The estimated death toll is up to 10 million Congolese people. It is a staggering loss of human life, potential, and culture.
It truly is. It remains one of history's most devastating, yet least discussed atrocities globally. We have to acknowledge this deeply painful past with absolute factual respect, because you simply cannot understand the weight and resiliency of the nation today without understanding what it has survived.
But from that heavy history, we pivot to Section 3, Ingenuity and Resilience, Life Against the Odds. Because when you look closely at the DRC today, you absolutely do not just see tragedy. You see remarkable life, vibrant culture, and an absolute resilience that thrives against all odds. For instance, did you know the DRC is the exclusive home to the bonobo ape? Alongside the chimpanzee, they're humanity's closest genetic relative. And what makes them absolutely fascinating to anthropologists is their society. Unlike many other primates, bonobos are uniquely known for resolving conflict through social bonding, affection, and play, rather than aggression. They are this uniquely peaceful mirror to humanity, and you literally won't find them in the wild anywhere else on Earth. And human culture there is just as vibrant and unexpected. Meet the Sapeurs, the Society for the Advancement of People of Elegance. This is just amazing. In the working-class neighborhoods of Kinshasa, these men spend their hard-earned savings on immaculate, brightly colored designer suits. They parade the streets not out of mere vanity, but as a profound statement of personal dignity, absolute joy, and a stunning visual resistance against daily economic hardship.
And the surprises just keep coming. You might look at the low GDP per capita and make assumptions, but I bet you wouldn't expect that the DRC actually has a space program.
Yes.
The Troposphere Rockets Project is a privately funded aerospace initiative that even has genuine government support. They have actual ambitions to launch payloads into orbit. It's a brilliant, inspiring testament to human ambition, completely refusing to be boxed in by economic circumstances.
That deeply rooted ambition and ingenuity runs incredibly deep in this soil, 90,000 years deep, in fact. Harpoon tips found on the banks of the Simliki River in the DRC date back 90,000 years. These are among the earliest tools ever shaped by modern humans from anything other than basic stone or wood. It firmly cements this entire region not just as a place of modern resilience, but as a literal cradle of ancient human ingenuity.
Which brings us to Section 4, the bigger picture, a land of contradictions.
So the crucial point is, when you pull all these rapid, incredible revelations together, it completely shatters the single-story narrative we're so often fed about this part of the world. When you step back, you see these staggering contradictions all coexisting in a single nation. The deepest river on the planet, the most critical modern minerals powering our technological future, the uniquely peaceful bonobos, and some of the oldest complex tools ever crafted by human hands.
All of this extraordinary depth exists in a place most people simply read a tragic headline about and immediately scroll past. It is a level of complexity that absolutely demands our attention.
The Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the most overlooked and underestimated countries on Earth. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we have to look past our basic assumptions. It's a place of unfathomable scale, profoundly heavy history, and incredible, undeniable resilience.
So the next time you hear the word Congo, will you just think of the passing headlines, or will you remember the giant hiding in plain sight? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Stay curious, and we'll catch you in the next one.